Listen to my podcast about sports. Howdy, Ags. Welcome to the tailgate. Today's episode is sponsored by Matthews Electric. Light up your home, light up your life. Welcome back to the original player. C Money, the delivery man, is back.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't know
Man, I had
that
to get
I
back
can
on after that
express.
win.
I don't
Huh?
know that I can express how excited I am to have you on the show today, C Money.
Hey man, I'm excited to be here. I'm
Did you
excited
hear
for that
about
last game I just watched.
a
That
reference
was
that was
awesome.
made to you in the? Did you hear about a reference that was made to you in the podcast last week?
No, what'd you say?
No, never mind. Don't worry about it. Um,
You told me something.
probably, probably. So let's get right into it, man. Aggies go play the Mizzou Tigers at Kyle Field on Saturday, 11 o'clock kickoff. All kinds of drama going into the game. Your boy Drink is talking shit about which quarterback's going to start. They're not even practicing for Conner.
The other guy?
Cook Cook is talking shit about Kyle Field. It's not even loud in there. We practice louder than that.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Drink sent a blanket to his leading receiver along with a note from Lee saying, hey, get ready to be blanketed all game long just to try to get him going. Hey, receiver, love it, man. Shows up at Kyle Field with a blanket around. Bro, coming in. Dude, this thing, there was a lot of talk beforehand on the other side. Aggies just showing up, doing their thing, keeping it quiet, keeping it quiet. Elko, right before game time, says, yeah, Connor's our starter, folks. Connor's our starter. He's healthy. I almost lost my shit. I almost lost my shit.
What do you mean? How?
Well, you know me. You know me. I love Connor. I love Connor. But I love Marcel Reed. I've got a little bit of a love affair with Marcel Reed right now. And
Yeah.
it's because of the fact that he does give you those explosive plays with his legs and things. And I just feel like in time, that dude with some more seasoning, that dude's gonna be a Heisman potential candidate here. But you know what? I I apologize. I apologize to Elko. I apologize to Connor because I underestimated what Connor had in him with regards to this performance. And so let's go ahead and start there when we look at this game, Corey. Let's start with the offense and what they did on Saturday. Clearly, easily the best this offense has looked all year. Connor diced them up. He, you know, he two things that he did that I thought he did that Reed is still learning and hasn't gotten to.
What's that?
One is you could tell that he's got this offense down already because he was able to operate it so much faster, right? Like,
Yes.
man, they were moving. And once they started rolling, they'd get up to the line, boom, boom. There was a rhythm to it, right? I
Right.
mean, and it's something that we haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. Not that Marcel's not doing a good job in that area. You know, he didn't make mistakes there. He didn't have issues like with penalties and turnovers and all. But it wasn't as smooth. It just didn't look as smooth, as quick. You know, he was up at the line, man. He was calling plays right off the bat. This thing was, I thought, was really operating efficiently. And I got to give Connor a lot of credit when it comes to that. I think he had a phenomenal game in that sense. And then the other thing that I thought was pretty evident to me was his comfort level throwing the ball to receivers that are almost covered but not really, right?
Yep.
Throwing the
I mean,
back shoulder throw to Thomas, throwing guys that are on the sideline one on one to Bussy, giving him some opportunities to make plays. And in spite of the fact that they got a man on him, he trusts those guys and has a rapport with those guys and delivers that football, gives them a chance to go make a play. What do you think, Cole?
that's what I agree totally with you. I mean, Reed's a good quarterback, has a lot of if he keeps watching Connor and if he can start making decisions a little bit quicker like Connor does, yeah, his accuracy, I think he can work on that. But the decision making, he's Connor, I mean, he first progression, second progression, quick, out, and if not, I mean, he tucked and run a few times, and he showed people he's more athletic than what they gave him credit for. That guy can move, and he spread the ball around. I mean, I'm not sure how many different receivers he hit, but it was a lot. I mean, it was not like he was just targeting Noah or Bussy but I mean, he got a lot of people involved. He's like, if you're open, I'm gonna get you the ball, and that's what he did.
And I think what you said there is a great point because not only was he exactly doing exactly what you just said, he was reading the defense, going from one to the next real quick and getting the ball out decisively.
Hmm.
He was doing that.
Exactly.
But on top of that, you could tell there was no hesitation. The downs when he said he saw an opportunity to run, he went
Yeah,
and he took off, got down the field, got a first down, and that's it, right? Like
I'd
no
like to see him
hesitation
slide a little bit
whatsoever.
more. I like
Huh?
to see him slide. I like to see him slide or not take so many hits. And he ducked his shoulders a few times, and
Yeah.
he just had a freaking shoulder injury. So I don't know. Maybe he was just pumped up. I don't know what it was, but he's got to be a little bit smarter than that.
He had a little fire in his belly, man. I think he's heard
Yeah,
the doubters, right? He's heard the people out there questioning him. And look, we came into this season thinking that Connor was going to have a big year. And, he in the first two games, that didn't really come out. And of course, it was, two games with a new offensive coordinator. Everybody's kind of getting on the same page, receivers, offensive line, everything else. And so maybe it's a little bit on us, kind of, hey, wait a minute, man, give this dude a second. And I
exactly.
and he came out on Saturday, dude, 18 of 22, 276 yards. I mean, that's ridiculous. 18 of 22.
No turnovers.
Sacked only,
Could have been one.
sacked only once.
Huh?
Only sacked once.
Sacked once. No ints, right?
No interception. Now,
Maybe should have had
interestingly enough,
one. Bussy broke that up. That was a good play.
dude, uh,
And Walker, that one he threw up for Walker, I was like,
there was a
that was
couple. Yeah, there was about two throws in there that
a
were a little.
couple head scratches. Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
This son of a
hey,
bitch doing to us?
Bussy's already our best defensive player. I mean,
Oh,
for that play,
Jesus, yeah.
player of the game on defense, man.
But I got to give
Interestingly
it up,
enough, though,
man.
he,
Like you
he
said,
didn't throw he didn't throw any touchdowns either
we didn't have to.
because we were able to
He
get
could have.
inside.
Hey, don't get me. He could. We could have scored. I think we could have scored 60 in this game if we wanted to. If Elko could have said second half, I mean, we just ran the ball. Shit, the
Yeah,
end of the first half, we could have
yeah.
probably scored there at the end of the first half. You and I were texting like, what are they doing? Why aren't they going to try to score? You know?
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that. Now, they were getting the ball in the second half. I understand, but you could have doubled up right there, right? Even a field goal, got a field goal, and then come out in the second half with another touchdown. Um, I I do worry a little, like there's been a couple of the games when we've had a lead, and boy, we start to take the foot off the gas a little early sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
In this case, it didn't matter because our defense just absolutely annihilated and dominated Missouri. And we'll talk about the defense here in a little bit, but but I was so impressed. I was so impressed. And you know, he really did a great job of never really having any hesitation, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was well, you were listening to me, right? You were listening to me. I was
I'll tell you what, it's
tripping out.
really impressed me. And I've watched it throughout the season, and I was kind of lenient. Is that offensive line is they're growing. That offensive line is growing. They're getting better. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how good Missouri is or was on defense because I've seen their stats. I know they had a hard time against Vandy, but that Vandy team just put up 40 on Alabama. And, Missouri scored 22 against them or something like that. Either way, I don't know what that defense is, but our offensive line looked really good. Our playmakers looked okay. Connor looked great. Running backs, I thought our running backs looked great. Daniels
Oh,
looked explosive.
both of them.
Moss,
Both of
Moss. I
them.
mean, I didn't know Moss had those moves. You know what I'm saying? The open field, that little move he made for that 75-yard. I thought he was more of a bull, but he's got skills.
We've talked about Moss, and early in the season, it seems like, before he's gotten many reps, he kind of feel he's not his vision's not, but the more he gets carries as the season's gone along, you can see
Yeah,
that dude just getting better and better in that sense. And he is a physical presence, man.
it really
And
is.
12 for 138, I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. A
Yeah,
75-yard run helps that, right?
yeah, it does help a lot, but
But three touchdowns too. I mean, I I love his physicality. He finishes runs every time. He's not afraid to to create the contact. And the way I see it is he's getting more and more comfortable with the holes. I think Amari Daniels is another guy that
yeah,
you have no problems having him on the field, right? I mean, and taking the
no,
carries, and especially, let me tell you something, especially in passing downs, dude. Amari Daniels and what he's done in the blocking game, the pass pro, has been unreal. That dude's been great in pass pro, and so I really like that combination of those two guys with EJ Smith. There is a little bit of a change of pace as well. But those two guys have been impressive to me. And it comes back down to what you said. The offensive line has improved every game since the first game of the season.
the entire offense has, I believe. I mean, especially with Connor back at quarterback, and I like Reed a lot, but I just think you can see a totally different dynamic in the play calling they can make, the way he gets rid of the ball quick, reads, but everything. But I think he makes the other players like Noah and Walker, even Moose. I think he makes these guys look better because he puts the ball in the right spot, gives them a chance to make plays. But
I
the only negative I could say is I'd like to see more out of our tight ends. I think we could do more over the middle, but Theo had a catch. He's had like a catch in every game. It's usually a
yeah.
touchdown, but
Yeah, you're right. We're not really, putting a lot on those tight ends, but we are spreading the ball around. And, Terry Bussey led this team in receiving yards this week. Terry Bussey, buddy.
yeah, like it.
Look, you look at him out there, and he's a different athlete than the rest
Yeah,
of the guys.
yeah,
I love him offensively. I think we need to continue to use him offensively. If you ask me, that dude is a playmaker on this side of the ball. He obviously he's got to get better and better as running routes and doing different things and more in tune with the playbook. And they're still learning to do. He's a freshman, whatever. But you can see it. His physicality, his ability to separate, the way, his speed, his all of that, right? I mean, his change of direction. The dude's a phenomenal athlete.
right.
I thought the other thing that Connor really did was sort of wake Noah up a little bit. And
Yeah.
I know he had a pretty good game against Arkansas. Really good game against Arkansas. But that was kind of that one big play, right?
Just that one play, wasn't it? It was like one or two big plays against Arkansas. I mean, he only had three catches against Missouri, but the guy's got some moves. He's for 6'6", he's pretty shifty.
Yeah. And I like that they threw the back shoulder to him on that one play as well, giving him an opportunity to get, and he's sitting there getting also how many pass interference calls did he get on him? Because, hell, they were holding. He almost made that one-handed catch down the sideline.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think he's big. And honestly, you take those two guys and then add Ja'Day Walker to that mix, along with Barber and Cyrus Allen,
Allen.
man. That group
Yeah.
to me is extremely solid. Moose, you know how I feel about Moose. Now he's got to control his temper because it
No
seems like
shit.
every
That
time he's
guy's
out
got
there, he's trying to fight somebody.
I don't know how many snaps he got. That's the most snaps I've seen him play in a while, though.
Yeah. And he got in there early, right? Um,
Yeah,
he got in there early. And you know, for some reason I feel like he like his teammates kind of like him, right? Like
yep,
he's always praising them. He's always praising them, giving them a lot of praise and doing all these things and building them up and you never hear him complain about the fact that he's not on the field or getting throws or catches or whatever. I feel like his teammates like him. And I think that helps when he's out there on the field. But honestly, a couple of weeks ago, we were worried about this receiving group. And to me, as they continue to develop, I feel like they've got those weapons and they're all a little different, right? Noah's different from Bussy. Walker's different from Noah and Thomas and Noah and Bussy. Barber's a smaller, kind of shiftier, quick guy, right? You know, Cyrus Allen is another a different dude, right? They're all kind of different.
right.
I
But
guess,
go ahead.
you know, with what we saw on Saturday, with what we saw on Saturday, the ability to get the ball out, the ability for this offensive line to give this guy the offense time to create holes. What can we expect from this offense going forward?
I expect to see what I saw this week, especially against who we're playing in the upcoming weeks. I expect, because I don't think we're going to see a defense until we see the Longhorns, maybe. I mean, South Carolina's all right. I mean, who's the best defense we got?
South Carolina's front looks really good right now. I mean, that defensive front is going to create some issues, but and also Auburn has been decent defensively. If that offense had anything to could do anything, I mean, that they'd be better.
But I mean, I really don't see a team that makes me nervous. I'm not sure how good the Longhorns defense is, to be honest with you. I don't know who they played that's makes you think Michigan
Find
just
out a little
ran the
bit
ball.
about the Longhorns this week against Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not liking Oklahoma's quarterback play.
Yeah,
He
their
ain't got
offense has
strong.
been horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so what's that going to show you?
Well, at least you got to think it's a step up in competition from Mississippi State. How about that?
I don't know. I mean, we thought Alabama was going to have a sleeper this week against Vandy and got
Look,
beat.
hey, with regards to this offense, and I want to go back to the offensive line, right? I am That's got to be the best hire of the offseason
Who,
is their new
Elko?
offensive line coach, right? Because that dude, in spite of the fact that we've lost three different guys to injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, you talk about Naboo, you talk about Shanahan, Reed Adams has been in and out with dings and all this stuff, and
Right.
they just keep putting somebody else in there, and that offensive line continues to play. And I have been extremely impressed by that. Supposedly Shanahan's going to be back this week. That's going to be another good addition to the depth on this offensive line. I don't know if he'll get to start at center or not.
No,
Um,
he won't.
but those guys, I mean, those guys have
He's not.
performed
We're not playing this week. We're on bye.
for
2 weeks.
2 weeks, Mississippi State, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I've just been super impressed with what they've been able to accomplish with this group, a group that last year was, I mean, I don't think we had a podcast where we didn't talk, poorly about this offensive line and their performance, right? I mean,
But
for
yeah.
2 years this offensive line has been a big problem for this offense,
Yeah.
and now they're the solution.
Yeah. It's huge. I mean, we've talked about it for a couple of years. They have the talent. It's the coaching, and it wasn't rocket science. Just do what they're good at, right? It's not so much trying to change them. It's just do what they're good at. So I had a question for you. So we've already played 6 games. How do you grade the team right now? What are you grading the coaching, the offensive line from, what do you mean, like week to week? I mean, we're halfway through the year. What are you thinking?
Let's look at the big picture here in just a second. I want to cover the defense before we go to big picture.
All right, go ahead.
So, we've talked about this offense, and I want to say one other thing about this offense, and that's that I am still a believer in Marcel Reed. Everybody has
Yeah,
talked so, like, oh, Marcel can't throw the football, this and this and that. And I think the difference between these two guys are two guys that have seen, one has seen a lot more football than the other, right? And I do believe that Marcel in time is going to be that guy. I think the ultimate result here would be a situation where Connor has such a great year the rest of this year that he ends up going first round this year. I think that would be excellent. And then bring Marcel in right behind him, right? Because I
right.
think for that to happen, you've got to make a run at the playoffs, right? I think for
Yeah,
that to happen, we'd have to make a run at the playoffs.
I mean, I think if we do the same record we did in the first half of the season, the second half, I think we'll make the playoffs. I think 5-1 will the second last 6 games. I think 10-2 will make the playoffs. But I think Reese, I think he and Connor are just two totally different quarterbacks. To be honest with you, I think Connor's more of a can be a pocket passer that's kind of athletic, kind of a la
No,
Josh
absolutely.
Allen.
100% they're two different quarterbacks, but
Yeah,
I guess my point is that I don't think I think that Marcel in time will get a lot more comfortable in the pocket.
right.
I think that in time he's going to get more comfortable in the pocket, be able to make more plays from the pocket.
I think he's like a poor man's Cam Ward right now. That guy's good. Ward at Miami.
Well, go watch
He
Cam
can.
Ward a few years back, and he was a poor man's Cam Ward too. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
Look, let's shift over to this defense because honestly, the defense is really, and I'm gonna narrow it even down further. This defensive line is the heartbeat of this football team.
Might
It's
be one of the best, if not the best in the nation. They're right up there. D lines.
I don't know a D line that's better. I can't. There's no other D line that has this kind of depth and the high level talent. If you ask me, look, Nic
Yep.
Scourton has been freaking
Crazy.
unstoppable,
Yep.
unstoppable. They had three guys on him the other day. That dude has been an absolute game wrecker. Everything that got promised from the time he committed to A&M, he has delivered, and he's
Yep.
gotten better. As the weeks have gone on, he's gotten better. And I also think that if you look at the game plan, they've realized, hey, let's probably not drop this guy into coverage that much. Let's go ahead and let him rush more, right? And so you got to
Dumbest thing
give
I've ever
credit to
heard.
the coaches for making some adjustments there, right?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Them drop Nick Scourton in the coverage. Let's drop Turner and Stewart. Let's drop them all. No, you get those guys, pin their ears back, and go get them.
I
I
thought
mean,
that the defensive line played its best game of the year yesterday or Saturday. I thought that not only Scourton, but you saw Cassius Howell out there making plays. You saw Stewart making plays. You saw Turner making plays. I mean, Rodas Johnson. Rodas Johnson looked exceptional, right? That's a guy in the rotation. And to me, with that kind of depth, I mean, you look out there sometimes and you got Stewart and Howell at defensive end. They don't take a step back to anybody. You know what I
no.
mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they just played a Missouri team that had Cook coming back, Burton coming back. They had a lot of guys coming back from this Missouri offense that was highly touted, and they just, shut them down. A couple plays, maybe a couple big plays here and there, but other than that, I'm
Yeah.
talking lockdown. D backs, the defensive backs, the everybody. I just thumbs up.
Yeah. I look, and this is something I noticed too. A lot more where they allowed those four guys to just rush and
Yeah,
play just straight up and then keep the coverage in the back end, I I'm really I can't say enough about how impressed I was with the defensive line. And the running game basically for Missouri was basically non-existent, you
yeah,
know.
it really was. That's what I was surprised at.
And
I
and
was
that
really
was a team
surprised that they couldn't run the ball
I
against
think
us.
that team led the SEC in rushing coming in, or they were
Not
right
anymore.
up there.
Not anymore. I think the Aggies lead.
Um yeah, defensive line wise, they're starting all that hype from the beginning of the season. I think they're really starting to realize it. I'm also seeing, we talked about the linebackers early on, um, and the fact that we were trying to figure out who that second linebacker was. I'm starting to see that group get better. The group with Scooby, the Shields, Sanford.
Yeah,
I'm almost seeing them outplay York, as a matter of fact, at this point. Because of
I
the
don't know.
athleticism, their ability to get sideline to sideline, they can actually cover guys, do some things in that in the pass plays, in the passing game. I've been super impressed with that group overall.
I hear you. I don't know. I mean, I'm still a fan of York. He still leads the team in tackles for the season. So, I mean, I'm still a fan.
Um, and here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. As you go in, if you add Jaden Hill to that group because he's almost kind of a linebacker, right?
Yeah.
You add Jaden Hill, they really have done a pretty darn good job with regards to uh especially in the mix, right? Now Jaden Hill's had his struggles in coverage, but in the box, I thought he's played pretty good.
I think Sanford's played well. I think he's done really good. Scooby's done good. A lot of good additions, man. I mean, a lot of guys weren't on this team last year that we brought in. Big impacts. Scourton, Williams. I mean, you just the defensive backs. Oh my God. I mean, Lee hit. You know what I'm saying? They
Let's
got
go there. Let's go there because
oh
Will Lee, the blank, the
dude, that
blank,
guy's good. That guy is really good.
I'm I can't be more impressed, man. He really has sort of taken on that nickname and he's done it with Theo Weiss. He played Luther Burden well. I mean, yeah, he had a pass interference. Did he have one or two on Saturday?
I think they picked one up. Was that on him? They picked that one up the very first.
but I'll be honest with you, the dude is just always on it. I mean, and I love it, man. Everybody else, if everybody else covered like he did, we wouldn't give up any yards.
Yeah. I mean, the safeties have played well. I mean, Brooks has played good. I mean, they got a bunch of guys just balling. I'm just saying. I mean, we lost Chappelle, and I was a little like, ah, shit, that sucks. But
And it
dude,
has
did we
hurt.
miss
Don't
him?
get me wrong. I mean, I do think Hills is a little bit of a step back for Chappelle, right?
Right.
Especially in coverage, I think. He's a little bit of a step back. But end of the day, they're still getting it done. Now, we got a pretty a pretty fortunate call on the deep throw interference, right? That's the one they
I don't
picked
understand that. I still don't understand that call, by the way.
up. I don't either.
I don't
Uh,
get it.
right after that, we got lucky that they didn't complete that seam pass, that pass right down the seam where he overthrew the guy. And then obviously the touchdown to Luther Burden that got called back because an offensive lineman was down the field. There's still some things that need to be cleaned up in the secondary, clearly, because I mean, we will give up a big play. Um, so they need to do some things there. But overall, I mean, you can't really complain about the way this defense performed against a team that's got as many weapons as what Missouri has on the other side.
True. I totally agree. I mean, Cook's a good quarterback. Burton's a great receiver. Might be the first receiver taken next year. I mean, and that Weiss or Reese, whatever that guy's name was,
Yeah,
he's pretty good. I mean, they got talent, and we shut them down. I mean, like I said, the score could have been 59-10.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
remember
Aggies just could have.
they kicked a field goal to end the game to cover the over, right? I mean, it was really they scored
That
20
was
points
weird
on them.
too. Why the hell do you do that?
I don't know. I don't get it.
That's just weird.
Six
If we
sacks
had
for
money
this
on if
defense.
we would have had money on the over under right there, they wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have kicked it.
If we'd had money on the over, they wouldn't have kicked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Six sacks, Holmes. Six sacks by this defense. I I just I the identity of this team is starting to show a little bit, right? That front line on both sides of the ball.
Both sides. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's both sides of the ball. And that's where you start. Any program, you start with the front lines, and then you get the talent around him, right?
100%.
Because it's not going to
100%.
do any good to have great secondary if your defensive line's letting the quarterback sit back there all day. You can only cover for so long. You're going to get tired. I mean, same thing in offense. If your quarterback doesn't have any time to throw the ball, it
Hey,
doesn't
Corey,
matter
let's
how
be
good the
honest here.
receivers are.
Sometimes we don't cover it all.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't need, I mean, if you don't have a good offensive line, your quarterback's not going to have time. It doesn't matter how good your receivers are. You can't get them the ball because you don't have time.
Yep.
So, I mean, running backs doesn't matter. It all starts up front.
It's been encouraging to watch because I think on both sides of the ball, they've gotten better and better up front throughout the year. I mean, the defensive line didn't have as far to come, but man, those guys I think have gotten better, right? I mean, and the
Yeah.
way they're playing and the way they're creating big plays for this defense and creating plays, allowing the secondary to make big plays because of the pressure, because quarterbacks throwing this football, as they're fading away and all these things. It's impressive to see. And I fully expect that they're going to continue to dominate up front on both sides of the football throughout the rest of this year.
Oh, I believe so too. I mean, I especially the only thing that makes me nervous. I wish we have LSU. I say South Carolina and Texas. The other three games, I wish they were a little bit better competition. To be honest with you.
All right, so let's
I
talk
mean, I
big
don't know
picture.
what to expect from Auburn,
Yeah, let's
but
talk big
Mississippi,
picture, right? So the Aggies are
yeah,
5-1, 3-0 in the SEC, first place in the SEC, Corey.
number
Number
one.
one all by themselves. Offensively, their numbers haven't been great, but they're the number 9 rushing team in the country. That says a lot, right? I think defensive.
Connor's been out for 3 weeks.
And Connor's been out for 3 weeks. Look, I think this offense is going to continue to get better. Look, we got a bye week this week. This is an important bye week. Let everybody get healthy, get back in there, start practicing some more, and let this offense really start to get its groove, right? And we come out of the bye week with Mississippi State. And here's my thing, because as Aggies look at this schedule going forward, Mississippi State, LSU, Auburn, South Carolina, Auburn, Texas, right? That's
Right?
the 5 ACC games remaining.
And New Mexico State or some shit. Oh,
Right. We're not going to worry about that. But those 5 games, and this is where I will you look, you got to watch out. You got to that whole rat poison thing that everybody talks about with Nick Saban and all that stuff. Like be careful for this rat poison because if you listen to your all the high praise and whatever for the next 2 weeks going on the road to Mississippi State, all of a sudden they're going to give you a little bit of surprise and you're going to be sitting in the game in the second half, right?
right.
They did it to Texas. They did it to Texas. Don't think that they can't come out and shock you if you sit in there and read the press clippings, right? And I say that about Mississippi State, who's probably the worst team in the SEC. I'm going to say that about Auburn because every time we go to Auburn, it's not good.
Ball game. Yeah.
And I'm going to say that about South Carolina because last time we went to South Carolina, or maybe it wasn't the last time, but one of the last times we went to South Carolina, I think it was last time. They were up 17-0 on us before like 5 minutes out,
Yeah. It was
right?
quick.
And that defensive line can make some plays. And if their quarterback gets loose every once in a while, he can make some plays with his legs. We know all about LSU, we know all about Texas. All my point is you gotta come ready to play, and the coaches have to get these guys ready to play week in and week out because you take a day off and you're gonna end up like Alabama losing to Vanderbilt.
I think we have the coaches for this. I think this is Elko is the right coach, and I think he has the support of the guys around him. I don't think he's gonna let them lose focus.
I look, I think I tend to agree with you, man. I tend to agree with you. I am, you know
Well,
what,
you should. I'm right. You
huh?
should agree. I'm right.
You know what I've been really impressed about Elko with is
What?
the fact that on every occasion, no matter what, that dude will not throw anybody else under the bus. All these other coaches, you hear them out there, it's like, oh yeah, this kid should have done that, or that kid should have done this, or we blah blah blah. Man, he doesn't do that. He takes it on himself. Said, look, we got to do a better job. We got to be better as an offensive staff. We got to be better as a defensive staff. We got to do better to scheme against those big plays. We got to change what we're doing in those situations, right? It's all about what him and this coaching staff are doing, and he's not going to throw anybody under the bus. He's not going to throw his offensive coordinator under the bus. He's not going to throw his defense coordinator under the bus. As a matter of fact, the other day he came out and he defended the DC. He said, "Look, this defense and what they're doing, that's not me. That's he's calling those plays. He's calling those plays,
Right.
right?
Right.
He's giving him credit." And same thing with Conner, right? He was never going to throw him under the bus. Look, we're week to week on this thing. And when he came out and all this, once again, I can't believe you guys were talking mess about Conner, right? Like Jimbo would throw everybody under the bus, man. It's just a wonderful thing to see a guy that just takes accountability for what's going on in that room when he is the leader of that team.
I'll tell you, man, listen to everybody reading what I read on the message boards. Oh, Marcel should start. If Connor starts, that's terrible. I mean, fire Elko. This is ridiculous. I mean, I've read it up and down Facebook. He didn't read that shit. He just said, Connor's healthy. We're starting him. And I'll be damned. He did. I was excited as hell. I said I was going to bet a house on it. I was like, hell, I'll take the Aggies right now. I love it. Didn't, but should have.
Should have offset some of our other stuff.
Yeah,
Anyways,
we had a bad weekend.
so like that's the whole point, right? I mean, he very clearly has a pretty impressive pulse on this team, right? He's got a good feel about what's going on in that locker room. There's no stragglers out there, man. There's no guys off doing their own thing. You don't keep hearing these guys, oh, he didn't practice this week or he took plays off. Like you're not getting any of that. Those guys come in and, they understand that they're a rotational player. Rodas Johnson, you know, Cassius Howe, Kennedy, those guys. I mean, and they don't care. They don't care. Albert Regis is out there doing the same thing. They just take care of business, man. And everybody seems to be on the same page. When the players talk, they seem to be on the same page. This past week before the game, Marcel Reed went and spoke to the media, right? Like this isn't, in spite of the fact that he wasn't the starting quarterback, right? And he says the right things. And to me, that whole presence and everything that you see around that, there's something to be said about that, man. I don't want to take this too far. It was a good win over a way overrated Missouri team. It was a really good win of a way overrated Missouri team. I don't want to take it so far like national championship, here we come. But
Wait, you say they're way overrated, Missouri team?
yes,
What?
that team is not a top 10 team. It's not even close to a top 10 team. It's not. Eli
So
Drinkowitz
they
is
have
not a
damn
good
near the
coach.
same team back they had last year that was a top 10 team.
They lost 6 defensive players or 5 defensive players to the NFL draft. They're not the same team.
It's the same offense. What are they losing the
They
offense?
lost their leading rusher who had like 1,600 yards last year.
Okay.
All I'm saying is that team and that coach, Eli Drinkowitz, is not that good of a coach. He's been getting all this praise because they had a good year last year. They had one good year.
Yeah.
One. He's had one good year, by the way. One. One good year
Good
does
year.
not make a career, my friend. One good year does not make a career. They were loaded. But neither
All
here
right.
nor there. Neither here nor there.
Disagree with you on that.
If you think they're a top 10 program, that's fine. I don't think they are.
I mean, I think they're a solid top 20 program. I think they're solid top 20. I don't think there's 19 maybe other teams that are out there that are better than Missouri.
I'd put them right around 20, maybe
I
25.
just think I think the Aggies are just becoming that good.
But I do think that the Aggies are taking steps forward, and that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about because it's a matter of going from week 1 to week 2 getting better, week 2 to week 3 getting better, week 3 to week 4, 4 to 5, right? And you got to expect that that's going to continue to happen week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, and
You
hopefully
would
all the
think as long as they stay
12.
healthy, you got to stay healthy. You're not.
Gotta
There's
stay
a lot
healthy.
of yeah.
Got to stay healthy. And look,
Guys,
we talked about it early in the season. Is that this schedule is not murderous row, right? It's not murderous
no.
row. We didn't think LSU was the greatest team on the planet, right? We didn't think
Yeah.
that Missouri was actually top 10. Texas is good, my friend. Texas is really good.
Does LSU and Missouri play each other this year? I was going to look at that because I think that would be a good matchup.
Ooh, that's a good, probably a lot of points in that one.
I would think.
So, so big picture here. Big picture here, Corey.
I'm listening.
Can this team make a run at an SEC championship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, well, for starters, the schedule helps them out. I mean, if they can go 5-1 down the stretch, I think they're a lock for the 12 team playoff. If you get the 12 team playoff, anything can happen, right?
5-1 down
You
the
got to get,
stretch, you may be in the SEC championship because Georgia's got a
well,
loss, Alabama's got a loss, Ole Miss has got a loss, right?
everybody's got a loss but Texas, right? And
Yeah.
us.
Texas still plays Georgia, by the way. Georgia and Alabama, I think, still play. Tennessee still plays Alabama. I mean, there's still a lot of football to be played out here, and everybody's already got a loss.
I was going to wait till later in the pod to ask you, but who have you seen this year play? We watched a lot of college football. Who's the most dominant team you watched play this year? Who do you see that's head and shoulders above everybody else? Anyone? Anybody?
I mean, the thing is that the team, look, I think Texas has obviously played as good as anybody, but then we go back and who have they played? I mean, Michigan has just been exposed as a fraud, right? They can't throw the
They just
ball.
lost to Washington, didn't they?
They can't throw the ball for 100 yards.
No,
So
one dimensional.
yeah, so it's maybe that's not that big of a win. But they dominated them on the road, right? I mean, so there's something to be said about that. I think Texas has probably been the most complete team that we've seen this year. And we'll see how that progresses, right? They play Oklahoma this week, which at least Oklahoma's offense is nothing to write home about, but that defense is pretty darn good. So we'll see how that plays out with that offense for Texas against that defense for Oklahoma. That'll tell you something about both of these teams a little bit. They play Georgia later on, and actually it may be the next week or 2 weeks down the line. And so that game is going to tell you a lot about both of those teams. I'm not sure that Georgia, one of the teams that I'm more disappointed in, I think Georgia. Carson Beck, all this hype that he's getting is completely undeserved. The dude, I think, is a mediocre quarterback at best. I wouldn't draft him. Um, you know, he sits over there and he takes an offense that last year was, I mean, pretty good with Bowers and McConkey, but still struggled at times. And they haven't done anything special this year, right? I,
Well, I mean, I've always told you Kirby Smart's not that good a coach. I mean, he just, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know.
Ohio State, I guess, is the other team that seems to also be getting a little bit better. You go watch them, and what they were able to do this past week against Iowa kind of shows you something.
Iowa sucks. Iowa sucks. Sorry.
Iowa's offense is horrible. You're right. Yeah,
Terrible.
horrible.
Terrible. But I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I watched Ohio State, and Will Howard didn't impress me at all. His arm strength didn't look good.
No, but he's got
He's
two wide receivers out there that are
semi-mobile.
first round NFL draft picks, right?
Yeah. Hey, Texas goes to Vanderbilt this year too.
Did they play
Upset
Kentucky also?
who?
Texas.
Yeah, they play at Arkansas. I mean, dude, look at the schedule. I mean, this is their schedule's looking tougher now that these games, because you looked at it earlier, you're like, okay, Oklahoma, that could be a tough one. Georgia, tough one. Vandy just beat Alabama. That game's in Vandy. Then they go to Florida, comes to Texas, Florida. Then they go to Arkansas. Arkansas just beat Tennessee. Then
Look,
the
that
Kentucky
schedule
plays
for
Texas.
Texas all of a
Kentucky, who
sudden,
did Kentucky just beat? Ole Miss.
yeah, that schedule for Texas looks a lot harder than ours at this point.
Yeah, right now it does. I mean, shit. They're yeah. You look at the Aggie schedule and the Texas schedule. I'd rather be in Aggie shoes right now.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And but and you know what? This weekend we get Ohio State, Oregon. We're about to find out something about those two teams.
True.
One of those two teams is likely to win the Big Ten, right?
Who you like in that game? Who do you like just to win?
I've been such an Ohio State hater. I keep saying I want to say Oregon, but um,
That's number two versus number three.
yeah.
I didn't know Oregon was that high.
Well, everybody else lost this past week, right?
Oh, dude, we got another shootout. Ole Miss LSU this weekend.
Yeah. Take the over.
Damn.
Take the over.
No
Um,
shit.
yeah, there's some good games. And this whole idea this past weekend, everybody was talking about the fact that, oh man, kind of a light slate, the schedule, this past week.
Best weekend of the year so far.
College football, that's why college football rules. It rules, brother.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't know
because
what the hell is going to happen.
you don't. You don't. And I'll tell you, when you least expect it, the craziest things happen, you know?
True that.
And so I'm excited for the rest of this year. I'm excited for the rest of this year for the Aggies. I'm excited for the rest of this year for college football in general. Let's go questions from the tailgate. Question number one, Corey, and then I'm going to pose this one to you.
Go ahead.
Right now, if you had to put your house on it, what's A&M's record the rest of the season?
They'll end up 10-2.
10
10
and
and
2
2.
gets you in the playoffs, Corey.
I think so. I mean, I can only find maybe one loss in that. And I'm not even sure it's Texas. It might be LSU. It could be at Auburn. I mean, but I don't see them losing more than one game the rest of the way. So 10-2 right now, from what I see, if they play like they did last Saturday, that's the thing that kills me saying because we've seen so much inconsistent play out of the Aggies in previous years because they beat Alabama, then they come back and lose to whoever. You know what I'm saying? I want to see let me see consistency, and then if we go out and do what I think we can do against Mississippi State, and that's dominate the game like we did last year and beat them really bad. Wasn't that last year we beat them
Yeah. Yeah.
60 something and nothing? I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know if it was
that's
60
my
something,
thing.
but it
It's
was a
10 and
lot
2. What
different.
about you?
Oh, man. Corey, what did I say at the beginning of the year?
6-6.
What did I say at the beginning of the year, Corey?
I don't know, 7-5, 8-4, 9-3.
I said we can win every game on this schedule. Is that not what I
We
said?
can't. We've already lost one. We've already lost one.
We've lost one. You're right. A game we could have won, though, right?
Should have won. Could
Could
have,
have.
should have, would have. Yeah.
I think
But
I think this team still has it in them.
to win
I
the
think this
rest,
team has it in them. And
11-1. It's a little bit too rich for my blood.
yeah, I'm probably going to go 10 and 2 as well. But you know what? That's not to say we can't beat Texas, man. And I
That's what I'm
think
saying too.
in that game at home, with the way that thing's going to be blown up, with the way that stadium's going to be absolutely insane, with an SEC championship on the line, by the way, SEC regular season championship on the line.
Which means you have to play one more extra game.
I will take it.
I don't know, man. It
11
almost
and
doesn't seem
1.
as appealing now. If you're 10-2 and there's two teams in the SEC that are 11-1 and they play in the championship game and you're 10-2, you know you're going to the playoffs. Do you want to play that extra game?
Well,
You see what I'm
if
saying?
if I have to win to get to 10 and 2, not necessarily, right? I mean, or I guess the point is actually, well, let me say this differently, right? If I'm 10 and 2 before going into the SEC championship game,
Yeah.
I probably don't want to play it.
I mean, do you really even need a conference championship game anymore with this many playoff teams?
But if I'm 11 and 1 If I'm 11-1, I play it. Yeah, I want to play it, and I want to play it because I want to win an SEC championship. If I'm 11
That's
and
my thing. Why do you need a conference championship game? If you just win the regular season or you're tied with somebody, I don't give a shit. If you're all going to the playoffs, that's the goal. Is to go to the playoffs and win the championship.
there's a
That championship.
ultimately, you're right. I mean, and ultimately they may do away with it, but it is what it is. Right now, it's a game, right? I mean, right now it's a game, and
So look how many games they're going to be playing. That's 13 if you play the SEC championship game, right? Then that means if you win that game, you probably get a bye. But if you lose it, you play in the first round of the tournament. Let's say you win that. That's
at home,
14 games.
at home,
Yay. So it's 14 games. Yay. You get to play at home. Yay.
it's
14
another home
games.
game.
Yay. 15. You're talking 16 games to win the national championship. You got to play 16. That's an NFL season, buddy.
17.
NFL.
But here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Yay.
If you are 10-1, going to go play Texas or playing Texas at home,
All right.
no question. No question. Do I want to win the SEC? Yes.
Okay, so let's say Texas is undefeated coming to that game, and we're 10-1. We win the game. We go 11-1. We just beat them, and then we got to turn around and play them again.
How awesome would that be?
No, I don't. I don't like it. I just think it's a dumb injury waiting to happen. A dumb injury waiting to happen.
Corey, if you want to, you can sit all your guys in the SEC championship game.
If I would, I'd call Stark up and be like, "Hey, Stark, I'm playing my third team. What do you want to do?" He'd be like, "I'm playing my third team. Let's go."
Not me, brother. I want an SEC championship. I want that trophy on
You
the
still get
wall.
it. Your third team's got to beat their third team. I just don't want to see anybody get hurt.
I want that trophy on the wall. And not only that, I want the bye.
That's what you're playing for, basically, is the bye.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. This team has to
Texas has to
play.
win the rest of their games first, so that even happens. Before we can talk
This
about that,
team has
because
to
I'm
play.
not sure Texas is going to win that many more games.
This
It
team
might
has
not
to
even be a
play
conversation.
every week. This team has to play every week. All right. They got to show
Yeah,
up. They got
yeah.
to show up.
Texas. You're talking about the Longhorns, right? Because the Aggies are going to show up. I'm not worried about the Aggies. Man, that's money. That's money right there.
Look, question number 2 from the tailgate.
Yeah,
Corey, they call you the delivery man. It's
no,
time for you to make a delivery here.
do it.
Who are your 4 major conference champions?
Let's start with the ACC.
All right, ACC.
Man, I was high on Miami, but I'm going Clemson right now. I'm going
You're not even
Clemson
going
out
to
of
give
the
any
ACC.
respect to Pitt, who's undefeated,
No,
or I don't even know who else.
there you go.
I'd go with
Out
Clemson.
of the Big 12, my sleeper, West Virginia.
Uh,
Watch the Mountaineers. They just beat the hell out of Oklahoma State. They've won some games that nobody expected.
Oklahoma State is horrible, number 1. Kansas State.
Nah, BYU. Maybe BYU. BYU's in first place right now.
Maybe
Give me
BYU.
BYU.
Undefeated BYU, is that right?
Yeah, give me BYU right now. They just beat Baylor. Third, Big Ten, Ohio State. It's an easy answer in that one.
Oregon
What's
might tell
left?
you
That's
something different this weekend. You're going to find out who the Big Ten championship is this weekend.
true. What's left? SEC?
SEC.
Uh Man, I'd love to say the Aggies, but I mean right now it looks like the Longhorns. I'm just being realistic. I'm gonna say the Longhorns.
Oregon. I'm going to give the Big Ten to Oregon.
All right.
Going to go out on a limb here. And
That's a big limb.
yeah, especially because I'm a big dude.
I mean, I say West Virginia, and you're like, that's fucking stupid. But yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty stupid. That is pretty stupid. But and then in the SEC, of course I'm going to go with the Aggies. Why wouldn't I? Aggies.
because do you really feel like the Aggies are going to win it all?
I feel like this defensive line is the best in the country, and that gives us at least a chance in every football game. Our offensive line is playing very well up front. Yeah, I mean, no, look, we've got to stay healthy. We got to stay healthy, right? Everybody
Yeah.
does. Um, and we just got to continue to get better. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think our team today is the best team in the SEC, but I think that if they continue to work and get better every week and show up, I think they'll have a chance to be the best team in the SEC by the time the season's done.
So wait, okay, so you took who?
Oregon and A&M.
All right, who else? ACC?
Yeah, I agree with you, Clemson.
Man, I mean, what about SMU or Miami?
Miami's defense just gives me too many questions, man. I keep watching them, and I mean, Cam Ward is a magician, dude. That dude is an
Yep,
absolute magician. I love watching him play. I mean, they're never out of it because of him, but I think eventually that's going to catch up to him. I want to say one other thing about one other player, man. That running back for Boise State is the real a deal.
yeah,
I
that dude's
mean,
fast.
and those guys over there, they know where their bread is buttered, man. They are not afraid to hand him the football,
True,
and he just kills it for him. Kills it.
true,
Love it.
true. What about you didn't say anything about the Big 12.
Kansas State, baby. Old reliable.
What
You know,
about you don't like Iowa State?
is that the
Highest
game?
ranked team in the Big 12 right now is Iowa State.
Do they play this weekend?
Iowa State plays.
I, Look, Iowa
They
State.
play West Virginia this weekend
Oh, that's a big game.
at West Virginia. There it is. There's my team. This is for the conference right here.
I think I really do. I have a lot of respect for Kleiman over there at Kansas State, man, and the way he does things. He's a serious guy as far as the way he coaches, and I think that team is going to continue to do what they do, man. And yeah, no, I'd say the Big 12 is I mean, it's got several teams that have a chance, right? I mean, Utah's still involved there. That
Texas Tech is
Cam,
undefeated
if
in their
Cam
conference.
Rising Cam Rising could stay healthy, that'd be a
True.
game
If you could
changer.
stay healthy. Colorado's 4-1 overall.
Yeah, I don't believe in Colorado because of that defense. Um, I think they'll end up, as they face tougher competition in the Big 12, they'll end up losing some games. But I mean, like you said, I mean, it's wide open, right? BYU's in there, Kansas State's in there, Iowa State's in there, Utah, so Colorado. I mean,
Dude,
that
the
it,
Big Ten, Indiana's undefeated. Penn State's undefeated.
and neither one of them's getting much respect. I don't know. Penn
Yeah,
State ranked number 5 in the country or 4 in the country, so they're getting some respect.
no respect, huh? None, none. They suck.
Yeah, I mean,
All right,
I love it. It's wide open, baby, and there's lots of football to play. All those teams play each other, by the way. It's great.
true.
It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a hell. I'm leaving the country for the next week and a half, so I won't be back till the Saturday when we play Mississippi State. It's gonna be awesome. Last words, Corey?
Gig 'em. That's all I got, baby. Just get after it.
Gig 'em Aggies from the tailgate. Love it.